Hey, it's the brother Sorry back with another one, man. This one's gonna be excuse me, this one's gonna kind of get into a little bit more of that TM. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna get into more of that True Master. Um, this is gonna go over analytical sparring or the analytics of fighting, viewed through the lens of symbols, patterns, and principles. Right. So let's see. Now it's been said that the experiential allows divinatory meaning from virtually anything you give your attention to. I think the last video that we recorded, we were talking about, kind of compared it to what they talk about in the double slit experiment and everything like that. How you know m- reality manifests as a um, basically a quantum soup of waves and everything like that. But when we give our attention to something, our attention activates it in some way where it becomes a particle or crystallized or whatever case may be. So reality is very much fluid, as they say, in a certain way. So and that's one of the concepts that kind of allows you to do divination on anything because the power of your attention is basically allowing you to um, receive messages from your environment. So, um, let's see. Now it's been said that the experiential allows divinatory meanings from virtually anything that you give your attention to. So, when applied to a system such as a martial science or martial art, um, with structure, rules, because every martial art has rules to it. It has a particular structure. It's an ordered system or whatever case may be. The body is divided into different regions and the whole nine. You see what I'm saying? Um, let's see here. There is more room for analysis and data. All right. Okay. At this time in my life, when I wrote the book True Master, um, I was giving most of my attention to kung fu. So basically, what I learned through working with the experiential over time, anything you give your attention to, it's because the idea that anything that you give your attention to is a symbol. A string of symbols is a pattern. You see what I'm saying? And they represent a theme or whatever case may be, which makes them readable and everything like that. So anything that you focus on, if I was a mechanic, you see what I'm saying? I could discern meanings of, you know, problems with people's cars or whatever case may be, and what they go back to and meanings of them or whatever case may be as a mechanic or whatever case may be using this system or whatever. So you can filter anything within reason through it. However, there are certain systems that have a little bit more detail to them or whatever case may be and are a little more structured. They work better because you have more access to data. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if I was walking down the street eating a bag of potato chips or whatever case may be, there would be patterns in my nervous system. I can't help but to use my nervous system because I'm operating my body or whatever. So my nervous system, how my nervous system functions when I eat a bag of potato chips, Lay's potato chips, I'm eating a bag of Lay's potato chips or whatever. So my nervous system is sending out signals in the way I bite the chip and the way I hold it, the way I grab it out the bag or whatever case may be. But it may be more difficult to discern the theme behind those particular patterns of how I dip the chip and flip the chip and all this, however it may go, however I do whatever I do with the chips or whatever case may be. There's no system to that. However, with a martial art, there's a system to it, so it's more measurable or whatever case may be. So this is kind of what we getting into, and this is the true master side of it. And like I said, at the time I was developing the material for True Master, I was heavily involved in kung fu. I'm kind of intentionally vague about lineage information because it's really out of respect, because a lot of the stuff I'm talking about may be considered somewhat fringe notions, and I don't want any negative blowback to come back on my teachers or peers. You see what I'm saying? Off of any fringe notions or whatever that I may be kicking around. I want their legacy to be preserved. However, I didn't exactly, they didn't exactly ask me to write this or whatever case may be. So just out of respect, I kind of keep it kind of vague or whatever case may be on that end, but it is out of respect. So, so getting into this, like I said, with the experiential, um, anything you give your attention to is readable. In this particular case, what I was giving my attention to at the time I wrote this book was kung fu. But if you have a problem with your car, right, and you examine the pattern and narrow it down to a divinatory meaning based on a theme, you see what I'm saying? Then in the context of a physical fight, getting hit, right? Like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get hit, right? So getting hit, and this is analytical. This is the analytics of a fight. What we talking about? Getting hit is caused by openings being created, right? And why an opening is created. Okay, anytime you extend yourself in a fight, an opening will be created or whatever. Offensive movements, and this is just one way openings are created or whatever case may be. Offensive movements usually in the process of an offensive movement create some sort of opening. Lapses in structural integrity in the body, in your stance, inappropriate timing, inappropriate range recognition, or a whole number of things that can cause openings or whatever case may be. So all of these things are just examples of things, and it's not limited to these things, but it's these are just examples of things that can cause openings. Um, in the course of a fight. These are patterns, right? So if you have the intentions of performing within this system of a martial art and I'm fighting in this particular style or whatever the case may be, I have to consider all of the things that I just said from range recognition. I have to know how long my arms are, stuff like that. Have some sort of idea so I can know like what am I at elbow range, am I at kicking range, am I at punching range, or whatever the case may be. You see what I'm saying? So you have to kind of be aware of various things, the timing. Let's see here. It's a whole bunch of things that can cause um, um, openings or whatever the case may be. But these are patterns. These are unconscious things that you may not be thinking about or whatever. And under duress, you will have no control over them. How they say, when you train something, you lose 70% of what you train. You only keep about 30% in a real ordeal or whatever the case may be. So the opening or what causes you to get hit. Um, may not be clearly defined or observed. It may not be clearly observable or um, able to be defined as an analytical, the analytics of this, until the proper stimulus provokes it. So, like I said, this is the same stuff. This comes out of your nervous system. This same thing that's allowing you to get hit in a fight. This is coming out of your nervous system when you're eating a bag of chips. However, there is no ordered, structured system to how to eat a bag of chips. So it's almost impossible to perceive it. However, in this manner of a structured system, as far as a martial art that you're trying to perform, you're trying to fight in this particular style that has these parameters or whatever case may be. Now, there's a stimulus in the sparring situation or whatever case may be that provokes this particular tendency that you have within your nervous system. Okay, am I everybody following me, man? I ain't talking about no pie in the sky. You know what I'm saying? No super mumbo jumbo spiritual type stuff. This is all um technical type stuff. Okay, so it is usually stemming from some bad habit that has developed over time, possibly from training something wrong. Maybe you were training the movement incorrectly, training the form incorrectly, and you came out with a bad tendency and you didn't realize that you had a bad tendency. You thought you were doing it correctly, but you turned out to be doing it incorrectly, and you didn't know that until you came across somebody who may be better than you or you're equal in skill or whatever, and they put you under a certain level of duress, and that particular tendency in your nervous system came out. Okay, continuing. Okay, it could have been something that you might have trained wrong, possibly from a day-to-day lifestyle routine. So the source of the opening or the reason that you got hit, all right, during the fight will stem from something that is always there in habit. It's always there in habit. If you're eating a bag of chips, it's there. But you can't see it when you're eating a bag of chips because there's no ordered system in eating a bag of chips. All right. So whether you are in a fight or you're walking down the street, it is always there. Okay, though harder to detect while walking down the street because you ain't got no ordered system of how you walking down the street. It's less ordered, it's more random, or apparently more random, or whatever case may be. But whatever's causing you to get hit is causing you it is there even in that time. Okay, the same thing you might think, okay, what's even the relevance of this? Nature itself similar across scale. So what and this is a fractal of a larger pattern. If this is what's causing you to get hit, or this creates a opening in a combative situation, this may be the same lapse in judgment. Lapse, it may manifest differently in your relationship with your wife. It may manifest differently in your relationship with your kids or on your job or something. This may be some sort of lapse or whatever case may be that you may notice or whatever in a martial situation or whatever case may be. But this might be the same thing that caused you to lose your job in a larger cycle, because you have fractals that represent larger cycles. So you can't look at things in isolated events. When you start observing patterns and you start studying patterns, this is kind of like some of the detail that you actually get in. So the same thing that caused you to get your ass kicked, for lack of a better word, to if I may be so liberal in my statements, you feel me, might be the same thing that manifested in a different way that caused you to get that divorce, or cause you to, you see what I'm saying, lose your job or something like that. It may manifest differently in a different format, but it's still a similar thing, or whatever case may be. Moving right along. So a form, a fight, or even a style consists of strings of movements in sequence, right? Formed from bodily positions. Bodily positions, much like hand positions, are also mudras, and I think we talked about that in the previous video. Like we talked about bod, bodily postures, or whatever case may be, just as well as hand movements are also mudras, because that not only do they have mudras in the context of yoga, which are bodily mudras, are considered more so on the line of asanas, but they also have bodily mudras in the sense of dance, as far as African dance, as far as Indian dance, or whatever case may be. They have mudras and everything like that. And if you actually look at some of the hand movements that come up out of kung fu, or whatever case may be, you'll see mudras in it. You'll actually see names. I know, like just one of the ones off the top of my head, the sword fingers, you know what I'm saying, that you use with the Tai Chi sword or whatever. That's prana mudra. You see what I'm saying? I think that's Futsal or whatever in some systems or whatever. I think that's Sashana mudra. It's they all correspond with mudras as well, or whatever. In many cases, the folding of the body occurs in areas of specific marma points, or points of intersection of nerve ganglia. I think we talked about in the previous video, or whatever case may be. Bodhidharma came to the Shaolin Temple, gave him the genesis of what would become Shaolin Kung Fu. Bodhidharma comes out of South India. South India, that's going to be marma points, Ayurvedic medicine, and the specific martial arts that come out of South India, very, very old martial arts, but that's the genesis of what would later become Muay Thai, Muay Boran, Lithway, and all those Southeast Indian martial arts. So, so long story short, positions would be equivalent to symbols, right? So when we talk about these positions, like how we talked about mudras in general, would be symbols. You see what I'm saying? The movements, or the strings of movements. Remember, we talked about symbols are patterns that are strung together, or whatever case may be. So the movements or sequences of movements or whatever would be equivalent to patterns, right? So symbols and patterns being the agents of principles in this particular system. Principles, aka themes, right? The themes are what make it readable, right? So a body is an environment, okay? Two bodies involved in an exchange, you see what I'm saying, creates an environment. See, I'm talking about Kung Fu, get y'all minds out the gutter. You know what I mean? The interactions and relationships between the participants' bodies mimics the fluctuations of pressure in a system. So remember another video, back to the other video, we talking about pressure mediation in the system and everything like that. That's where we get the idea of balance or balanced relationships. Unbalanced relationships equal unfavorable situations or whatever the case may be. Yeah, because the pressure is a imbalance of pressure in the system or whatever the case may be from a scientific perspective. If you want to look at it like from a thermodynamic perspective. Now, I ain't no rocket scientist or nothing like that, but y'all get what I'm saying. I'm a, my PhD people out there, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but or any nuances or what have you, but that ties into pressure mediation and thermodynamics and fluid dynamics and things of that nature. Okay, so as previously discussed in our example of pressure mediation, so because when you get into chi sao, when you get into push hands, all that's pressure mediation. That's what those exercises are based off of. Okay, so two people sparring, fighting, doing drills, etc. The ability to perform or the specific difficulties in techniques are readable. So the break, so let's say you're trying to maintain equilibrium in the system or whatever case may be, and the breakdown of that or whatever case may be on your part or whatever case may be, that's what you want to pay attention to when you attempt something. What falls apart specifically? What system is that related to? And you collect the data of the theme from those particular things, and you get accurate data on how it applies to you specifically. Okay, so as we discussed earlier, symbols and patterns always express themes. Ask yourself, what does the movement do? What is its function? The theme being communicated is usually associated with the function or purpose of a thing. So we always going back to this. And I think when we was correlating some stuff back, I mean, we can go into Gerald Massey's information and stuff like that when we get into a lot of your um, um, more historical information or whatever, but he talks about the same thing when he talks about the symbol. The symbol often talks about the symbol often deals with the function of a thing. It's always about what it does. I think we quoted R.A. Schwaller de Lubis. He's another Egyptologist. He's talking about and he has whole books on symbolism or whatever. He talks about a expression is defined by its function. So that's a recurring thing when we talk about symbolism, period, or whatever case may be. Similarly, the body is readable in illness. I think I got a whole video on that. We talk about the body is readable, our illnesses in our body, the systems and what they do and what they represent. When they break down, they're actually telling us things or whatever case may be. They're giving us windows into things that are actually going on in our lives outside of our general health or whatever case may be. The lack of performance in a system with established rules and structures is always uh, readable. Okay, this also enables martial struggles used in a fight. Let's see, martial strategies, excuse me, used in a fight to be able to be applied in a broader sense once the theme is discerned. So strategies and things and techniques and tactics that are used in martial arts or whatever case may be, you can discern the broader theme behind them. I just an example, just off the top of my head. One of my personal favorite Muay Thai fighters, Danny Bill. Um, he has a move that he does. It's a let's say a person will be doing a roundhouse kick, right? And he'll see the roundhouse kick coming, and he'll shift his weight, and he'll kick their post leg out from under him. Now, from a pattern perspective, what he's doing or whatever, he's taking a cycle. He's taking a larger cycle because in martial arts you have circles and straight lines or whatever case may be. When we deal with from an experiential perspective or whatever case may be, we're dealing with the circle would be likened unto time intervals and everything like that. So let's say like you have large circles, smaller circles, smaller circles, smaller circles. You know what I'm saying? The circle, you have various different circles as far as like with your body and everything like that. So the circles can be likened unto time intervals or whatever case may be. So you can hide attacks in other attacks. So you'll have a larger circle. He basically hid a smaller circle within a larger circle. He hid a smaller pattern within a larger pattern or whatever case may be. So I mean that's just something that you can get from the symbols, patterns, and principles, just viewing things from time intervals or whatever case may be. When you're dealing with systems that deal with straight lines, let's say instead of the whole circle, you take the climax of the circle or whatever, the 90 degrees from arc to zenith or whatever case may be, and that would manifest as a straight line when you have systems of martial arts that deal with straight lines. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's when you're dealing with patterns or whatever case may be, it's different ways that you can look at it, and it's different data that can be gathered from viewing it in a particular way. So I ain't trying to fry your brain too much on that, but I just want to kind of do a quick one on the analytics of fighting and kind of how that can be um, decoded and converted when you get into symbols, patterns, and principles when you start filtering it through that language or whatever case may be. Appreciate y'all checking me out. Peace.